Hello and welcome. I'm Bert the Stormtrooper, and today I'm going to be reviewing Aspen Pinball by Brunswick. This machine was released for home use in 1979, and it was a follow-up to its previous 1978 release of Alive, which you see sitting right here next to it. Now, these guys were released, manufactured and released by Brunswick, like I said, back in the 70s. And they were distributed by Sears and Roebuck for home use. You'll notice that there are no coin ops on either one of these machines. These machines are what you call a cabaret size. They're about 4 feet long and about 5 feet tall. Now, Aspen here, this is the one that we're going to be looking at today. There was two versions of this machine released. There was the 228 model, which basically had the exact same playfield as Alive. Basically, imagine the same exact machine which you're seeing here, just with this artwork, except for the guy skiing right here on the bottom. He was a little different. And then there was a 200 model, which is the model that we have here. This one was actually signed, if you notice on the top there, it doesn't actually say Brunswick, it says Briarwood, which was a subsidiary of Brunswick as well. And this one was probably the cheaper of the two models, because it's got a couple of less features than its twin or even the Alive here. So there's a couple of point triggers that are missing. These two bonus bumpers here in the previous version, and in Alive and in the Brunswick version, these have actual trigger points here. These do not. These are just bumpers. They just bounce the ball into the center bumper there, so there's no points if you hit these two. And then down here, these two side bumpers are also missing trigger points, so there's nothing happening here. If you hit these, the ball is just going to bounce, and you're not going to get any points out of those either. So you got 4 trigger points missing, and you've got 6 lights that are missing as well in its predecessor and in its twin Aspen Brunswick machine. There are lights right below these 100-point markers right here. There would be 3 lights. And if you hit the 2 outer lights, you would get another light down here that would light up that would say double advance bonus. If you were to hit all 3 lights, there would be another light over here next to this bumper that would light up with a triple advance bonus. And then down here in the center, there would be another light that would be same player plays again. It's basically a free ball. And just to show you what that would look like, that's these guys here. So you get those 3 lights bonus if you hit those targets, your double bonus, your triple bonus, and your free ball. So those are pretty much all of the differences, or most of the differences. We still have one more difference rather. You'll notice that the boards up here look identical, or except for the artwork, but you would that's kind of a trick right there, because the internal board is actually different. The inside boards of these are actually different. The gameplay is different, of course, because we don't have the double bonuses and the triple bonuses and the free ball. It's a completely different game than the one that's been programmed for that one over there. Also, the Alive and the Brunswick version of Aspen, they both have electronic sounds that go out to a speaker. Just basically beep, beep, beeps, boop, boop, boops, and there's a couple of tunes that play. This one has none of that. This one has the old school chimes in it. It's got 3 electromagnets, 3 coils down at the bottom with 3 hammers in them, and 3 plates on top that kind of look like your xylophone plates. So whenever you hit points, if you hit a 10-point or a 100-point or a 1,000-point, or even when you start the game, depending on what you hit, a different coil energizes, the hammer goes up and hits a different plate. So you've got the really old school bells on this machine that make it really, really charming, and just made me absolutely fall in love with this machine here. So beyond that, that's pretty much all the differences between the two machines there. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at a little bit of the gameplay. Another thing I actually meant to point out when we were looking at the machine closer is that the scores are intended to be a lot lower with this machine rather than with its predecessor or with its Brunswick counterpart, where before we were scoring 50s, now we're only scoring 10s, 10s and 100s. Before we were scoring a lot of 50s, a lot of thousands, a lot of hundreds. This one's pretty much just 10s all the way around, and I don't remember. Yeah, the spinners over here score 50s. These spinners only score 10s. So the overall score that you're going to get on this machine is going to be a lot lower than you got on the Alive or on the Brunswick version of Aspen. And you can see that down here on the bottom where it tells you your scores. Your score over, and it goes through beginner, novice, amateur, intermediate, expert, and professional, depending on what score you get. The scores are very different versus the ones that you get over here. Over here, a beginner is 19,000 versus 35,000 over here. All the way up to professional, 75,000 score would get you a professional on Aspen versus a 350,000 score over on Alive or on the Brunswick version of Aspen. So much lower scores, gives you a lot more to shoot for. So just so you can hear what it sounds like, you hear that bell right there, and that's all you're going to hear is just bells, no tunes or anything like that. And right out of the bat, I just get thrown over to the side there. So I was very fortunate with this machine. I found this machine. A friend of mine pointed it out to me because I already had Alive. A friend of mine saw this machine online, and I want you to be able to hear what the bells sound like. Oh, there it goes again. So yeah, a friend of mine pointed me to this machine. I already had Alive. I've been working on Alive and put a bit of work on this one. So he pointed me over to this one. And this past weekend, I went and took a look at it. They only wanted $50 for it, which is a really, really good deal. So I went out there to look at it, and the machine was powered off. They plugged it in, and nothing happened. So the machine wasn't. It was powering on. Some of the lights would power on, but it wouldn't play. So I had to fix that. The chimes, you know, the guy told me that the machine originally made sounds, but then it stopped. So the chimes weren't firing up and they weren't working properly. I had to fix those. Then I went ahead and replaced all of the rubber on this machine. All of the bumpers I have replaced. This flipper was broken, so I had to fix this flipper. And then this gate up here was broken. I had to replace that gate there. So overall, not bad. I got it. Eventually, ended up taking it for $40 instead of $50. I think possibly he could have gone a little lower, except his wife was there and she was pretty stuck on her 50. You know, the listing price was 50. She was pretty stuck on it. She didn't want to go any lower. You know, he kind of went 40, and I kind of knew what he was going to have to deal with after I left. So I agreed. I think at 40, I got a good deal. You know, spent another maybe $50 with the rubbers and the parts that I needed to fix. So overall, I've spent about $100 on this machine, and I'm pretty happy with it so far. A little more gameplay and bells for you and chimes so you can hear it. That sounds like. Now the trick to either one of these games is to really try to get in the center here. If you can get stuck in a pattern where the center bumper is just bouncing back and forth between these four bumpers here, then that's what's gonna rack up all your scores there. Especially because that's 1,000 points. So if you can just get it down there, that's the way to rack up the points on this game. And then also you want to try and get in the bonus center here, right there where I'm about to come down. You can see the lights are lit now. And yeah, that's what you want right there. That's exactly what you want. That's what's going to rack up the points for you right there. Come on, buddy. Come on. Alright, last ball. Each game is 5 balls, and you can play up to 4 players. To add players to the game, when you press the start button, all you have to do is press the start button again. So if you want to play 1 player, you press the start button once, twice for 2 players, and so on, up to 4 players, 5 balls each. So, that's it. So I got a 50,470. That's going to be right at intermediate, between intermediate and expert. So yeah, these guys are these are pretty cool machines. Just intended for home use. Again, they were distributed by Sears and Roebuck, 1978, and this one is 1979. And there's a third machine called Circus, which was released in 1980, that I would really like to get my hands on. I like to have the trio. Hopefully someday I'll have the trio in here. I'll have the full set. So pretty cool machines, fun, cool little conversation pieces. Beautiful, beautiful machines. Aspen, this one right here, this is the one we're looking at today. It's got, again, two different models. This is what I believe to be the cheaper of the two models, just because it's missing some of the lights, and it's missing some of the bonus features. Some of the targets for points are missing. The board is different. It doesn't have the soundboard, so it's. I believe this would have been the cheaper of the two machines, but it's still all made by the same people. This one says Briarwood. That was a subsidiary of Brunswick, so they were all really built in the same place. So yeah, I think that's going to pretty much cover 1979's Aspen by Briarwood / Brunswick. What did you think of this video? What would you like to see me review next? Let me know. Leave me a comment. Give me some thumbs up. Subscribe. And share with your friends if you like what you see. And I'll talk to you next time.